I will never forget when my hatred for doctor's offices was born. It was junior high, maybe 7th grade or 8th grade, and my mom was taking me to the doctor for my regular old yearly well checkup that we all get when we're kids. And so we were there, and the nurse took my weight and my blood pressure and all this and all the regular stuff, and then we waited a little longer in the doctor's office for the doctor to arrive. And so we waited and waited and waited, and finally the doctor came in. And my mom and I are sitting there, and my doctor comes in and does one of these. It's probably time that we talk about your son's weight. And I remember when I heard her say, like, I thought she meant like doctor's weight, but she was talking about my obesity. You see, when I was a kid, I struggled with obesity, and this was the first time that a doctor actually talked to me about it. And in fact, it was because I was pre-diabetic. It was affecting my health in a really, really bad way. And so that is when it all started, my huge struggle with my weight and my health, and that's where it all began. And so if you fast forward 12 years into the future, I'm 24, and my son is just born. I'm a full-time pastor, and my health is in bad shape again. But the problem is I didn't know it until my wife gave me a letter that she hand wrote from her and my son. And it said something to this effect: I do not think you will live to see our son grow old if you continue on this path. I love you, but your health is out of control. And it was my wife, so I believed her, and she was honestly and sincerely worried about me. The one thing that I didn't realize that was happening at the time, or at least I didn't realize there was a connection, is that my spiritual life was in total disarray. I had never felt further from God. My ministry felt like it was totally stressful and totally anxiety driven, and I didn't have any idea that actually my physical health and my spiritual health were totally, deeply, intimately connected to each other. And it was at that time that I realized, man, I really got to get a hold of my physical health and my spiritual health. And so this video, this of beating burnout, is really all about that. It's what I learned about how my physical health really affects my spiritual health, and I know this is true for everyone. And so there was a few practices that I adopted that I think that they seem like common sense, but they're really not as easy as they sound. But they are vital to the health of a ministry leader. So the first one is getting enough sleep. The Sleep Foundation of America says that each of us need at least 7 to 9 hours of sleep. At that time, I was only getting 5 to 6. And what we well know and what studies have shown is that when you are that sleep deprived, you're basically walking around drunk. It's basically as if you had drank way too much alcohol. That's what sleep deprivation does to you. And so when you get enough sleep, you are able to make clearer decisions, you are able to focus better. And what I've found is because I was so tired and sleep deprived, I couldn't pray, I couldn't focus on my seminary work, I couldn't do barely anything because I was so tired. I wasn't making good decisions, I wasn't making good relational decisions. My relationships were really struggling because I was just too tired, I was exhausted. So getting enough sleep is the first one. The second one is eating right. Now we hear constantly that we should eat better food, we should eat this, should eat less food. But for me, it wasn't just portion control. It was even the quality of the ingredients, the kinds of food I was eating. Because honestly, you could eat 2 Oreos and be under a certain calorie count. But honestly, it's not just about that. It's about the quality of food that you eat. And so for me, I had to learn portion control, and I had to learn to put things in my body that are going to serve it and build it up and take care of it. One thing that I've always heard and that always bothered me was that our bodies are the temple of the Lord and we should take care of them. And it always was a pet peeve of mine, actually, but it's so true. And eating right is one of the ways that we can really affect in a positive way how we conduct our ministries and conduct ourselves within ministry. The third one that is probably the hardest for me to embrace is exercise. You guys, I cannot tell you how hard it is for me to exercise. I really hate it with a passion. But this, probably out of the three, may be the most important thing that you have to adopt as a ministry leader, because it is, first of all, it is the one way that we can, if you're struggling with depression or if you're struggling with anxiety, when you exercise, it releases endorphins, it releases numerous different hormones that just, it's basically like liquid positivity bursting through your veins. And when you exercise, it's not only a great stress reliever, but it is working your body towards a positive goal that is going to positively affect your spiritual life as well. Because when you do all these three things, you're going to notice that suddenly you feel like it's easier to connect with God. You're more alert, you're more focused, you're more calm, you're not as anxious of a person. And that's something I felt, is when I was able to get through these things, get these things going in my life, I suddenly felt closer to God than I had felt in a long time. I was able to pray, I was able to interpret the Bible in ways I hadn't really been able to. I felt as though the Holy Spirit was speaking to me, and it was really because I was getting my physical health under control. So really the main point of this video is for you to realize is that your body and your spirit are not two different things. They are the same thing. They are intimately connected, and you can't treat your body terribly and have an amazingly healthy relationship with God. And you can't treat your relationship with God badly and have an amazing physical health. It's just not possible. They're connected. And so my encouragement for you is that you would maybe try to adopt these things, and I promise you, you will be on your road to beating burnout.